Hi, this is David Kaye, the voice of Treize Khusrenada, of Gundam Wing, Sesshōmaru, from Inuyasha and Yashahime. Jaka, shut up. And you are listening to a Toonami Faithful Podcast exclusive.
Welcome to this special episode of the Toonami Faithful Podcast. I am your host, Sketch, and with me I have my co-host, Paul Pasquillo.
Hello, I'm here.
And we are delighted to have on the show Mr. David Kaye.
What? No. What? Good to see you guys. I can actually see you, which is kind of cool.
Yeah, we don't usually record these over Zoom. This is kind of new for us. Kind of new for us too.
That's cool. Thanks for having me on the podcast, man.
Absolutely, we're so delighted that you were able to do it.
No problem.
So the big news on the street is that you're back voicing Sesshōmaru for the Inuyasha spin-off Yashahime.
What? No. What? Yes, I am. There was 2020 sucked. It's still sucking in a lot of ways, but there were some good things that did happen this year, and that was kind of cool. There's always all kinds of questions from fan sites, and when we used to do conventions, people ask about Sesshōmaru and Inuyasha, and that was one of the first. It was one of the first anime series, or among a handful that I did when I was living in Canada, up in Vancouver. So it was really cool that sort of word came down and some finagling and logistics and things were worked out that he was back. My biggest fear was I was a child when I did that. So, okay, how's this going to work? That's the biggest concern. But it's so. When I saw the episode they premiered, and I heard my voice coming out of the character, it took me right back to Vancouver days, and great times, great memories in the booth with Carl Wilms and the crew up there at Ocean Group. So yeah, it felt really good. It's like putting on an old sweater, It's like, oh god, it was cool.
Awesome. So Inuyasha, of course, is a very big show. So what did it mean to you and perhaps all of the other folks involved with the show back then that Inuyasha was such a big show, and that the folks at Adult Swim loved it, the fans loved it, the people on YTV loved it? Just what did that mean to all of you guys back then?
Well, I didn't really, at the time when you're doing it and you go in anime, you have the 3 beeps and you fill the the English dub and we wouldn't have a chance to. The script was 700-800 pages, and of course we're not going to get a chance to read that because they won't give you the script before, because you're not supposed to know anything. And so we would do our parts, and we would leave, and I would see, I knew Richard, and I'd see him often, and the Dobsons, I'd see them, and the characters. But I didn't know, first of all, I didn't know really who all was in it. And I went to Toronto for a convention years ago, and we were getting in the van from the hotel to go over to the convention center. And Mike Dobson was in there, and I was in there, and me and Mike are very good friends still. And another girl got in. I said, is she with us? Or Mike goes, that's Kagome. I go, oh, right. Because you do it, you don't see people, you do your part, you leave, like in prelay, everybody's in the same room. And then you get into the convention, and my first experience, hundreds of fans, and there were, cosplaying the characters in Inuyasha and Sesshōmaru, and I really didn't have any idea what I was getting into until maybe, a couple of conventions in, and realized how, and then I started watching it, and then the manga, and then all this, and I realized how big it was. And over the years, there have been fans that have become friends through either conventions or through the character, and we keep in touch on social media, or a couple of people have come to visit, and Yeah, it's really kind of cool. It's like a family. It's like a community, right? So I had no idea at the beginning how big the community was, and then um, it wasn't until many years later I realized how huge it was and what an impact it had. And my son is how is he 20? He's 22 now, and he's I go, what are you watching? He's watching anime. He's watching a ton of anime. And Toonami and other, so it's just, I think the Japanese culture may have something to do with that as well, as which I always loved. But just the artistry and the stories, and I don't know, it's a perfect storm, I think. But it's honor to play a character, like that. It really is cool. I don't take it, I don't take it for granted. That's for sure.
Now,
Did any of that make sense? I
yeah,
rambled. Stop.
no, that was all great.
Good.
Now, you don't have to answer this if it's uncomfortable, but I mean,
I
obviously,
Yeah.
we want to know.
Yeah.
Did you have the opportunity to come back for the final act, or was that just not going to happen?
I didn't actually know what was sort of going on because I had emigrated down to the U.S., living in California, and my career took me here, and so they're not going to, it wasn't in their budget, or they weren't going to, fly. Now, look, to be honestly, I get asked this a lot. To be honest, if someone said, "Hey, listen, if they're doing the series again, are you willing to come up? Like, we can't pay for your flight," and I honestly would have said yes, because I didn't mind if that's, now I don't want to, but I wouldn't mind, I'd jump on an airplane, take a 2.5 hour flight to Vancouver. And, we had friends there. My assistant at the time still, lived there, and I had a place to stay. I was like, you know what? It's going to cost me to go, but I'll go and hang out for a couple of days and come. It wouldn't have bothered me, but logistically, what if my flight was delayed? What if it was canceled and they had me booked in? It wouldn't work. And, and they have a schedule to make, and Danger did a great job in my absence, and it just wasn't logistically possible for me, in even a contractual way, to be a Screen Actor Guild member and have to go. It just doesn't happen. But this time around, because of the technology, and we're able to get the Canadian cast and the US cast together, and Bang Zoom is literally down the street. I could walk there in probably 20 minutes. And so with all those folks and Viz, and I got to, give props to my publicist too, because she and they all worked something out. So I was just thrilled, But and that's a long answer, but I would have done it if I could, sure. But contractually and all that stuff, it just logistically, it wouldn't have happened.
That's entirely understandable, and we're all just really thrilled to have you back for this one.
Oh my gosh, thanks. There's more to come.
Looking forward to it. So, what did lead you to move from Canada down to California?
You get asked that a lot too.
I bet. Well, there are some other actors that did it. Like there's like Cree Summer and Tara Strong.
They're all friends. Yeah. But look, it's always a very personal thing when it comes to my career. It was important. I remember because I was commuting down to Los Angeles in New York sometimes from Vancouver for almost 10 years of commuting in an airplane, and I started build sort of a career down here more and more, and I would have to come back more often and more often. I was missing my family, the kids were young, and I think, like, what am I doing? And I talked to my assistant at the time, Steve Sisk, and I said, like, what do you think? He said, well, what do you want to do? I said, well, I was cast in a show down here, a little show, Transformers. I don't know if you ever heard of it, but it's some little franchise.
Yeah, maybe.
I don't know. Anyway, I had to be here on a weekly basis, and I was cast in another show. And this is now going to be ridiculous, because what am I doing? And then what sort of solidified the movies, I had a chance to. I did read for the voice of the Tonight Show when Jay Leno was hosting the Tonight Show, and I was second choice apparently because when
Wow.
Wally Winger got sick when he couldn't speak, they called my agent. And she said, "Can you make it over to NBC like it's like today?" And I go, "For what? For what?" So you're doing the Tonight Show. I said, "I'm what?" So well, yeah, they I guess you were second choice, and they want to bring you in and do the show, and that's all live to tape. So I went in, and I'm shaking because I'm like, how did I get here? And then next thing I know, I'm in the booth, and I hear the band, and tonight's Jay Leno, it's an all new take, and I left thinking, oh my God, that was cool. I want to do that for. And so those things wouldn't have happened if I was still in Vancouver. These are the things I wanted to do. I always for some reason wanted to do a game show. I mean, it's not, it would take me out of a lot of other things, but I always wanted to be, hey, come on down. I don't know why, who knows. But so those things were not possible living in Vancouver. Doing movie trailers and network promo, that's just not going to happen, where I was. And I could have stayed and that we had a great life. I felt guilty of, ripping the kids out of school when they were freshmen, but my son's been here since 5th grade and my daughter's been here since 9th. So, they've thrived. It's a tough time for everybody right now, but at the time it was just the decision to make. I always thought I wanted to play in the big leagues. I wanted to be, competitive with the best out there, and for me personally, I needed to be here for that. Now I have to add too that this country has been great to me and my family. The experiences, the time, the work, the folks I've met all across these United States, and I know that there is a tremendous amount of great people out there, and I have hope for this country, and all those things that I read on the monuments in Washington D.C., the Lincoln Memorial monument about, and I went there, and I went to Arlington National Cemetery. This is before I decided to sort of do the whole process, become a citizen, and I walked through Arlington National by myself. I couldn't stand being with the tourists. I just they're like, "Nyeh, I got to go off and be quiet for a minute." And I walked around, saw the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier, and went, these people died for this country, and Miles, and of course people died for my home country of Canada too. I was looking for something to solidify my choice, and that visit, and the Vietnam Wall and the veterans, and I went. It just felt it kind of solidified it for me, that the ideal. We've had a tough little run here, but I still, when I see Lady Liberty there in the harbor in New York, I still get kind of like, there she is, because my ancestors also came. Some went to Canada, some went to the U.S., and that's the first thing they saw, and the opportunities, and it still represents something, the opportunities, and so yeah, again, it's a really personal thing, and we've been very fortunate, and I'm grateful, and I know I made the right decision. We also, keep our ties to my home country, to Canada. We were able to escape there for a couple of months. This year was a much needed mental break for me. I must say it was a bit of a Handmaid's Tale situation at the border. Creepy.
Oh boy.
I was like, wow, this is different. As long as you had the passport, you're Canadian citizen, sir. Yes, I am. You're with my wife. Are you a Canadian? Yes, sir. Okay, stay right here. Mask, please. I mean, they were, not screwing around. But 20 minutes later of grilling, we were able to get through. It's like, wow. Yeah, just fortunate to be, to be able to be a citizen here, and also still have ties to my country, but. I will add this. I'm rambling it, but when I was cast in G.I. Joe as a Great American Hero when I was living in Vancouver back in 89, I guess it was, I always felt kind of guilty. And then I remember coming out of the convention center in downtown LA, and we all became citizens. It was 4 or 5 years ago now. I went out and go, all right, okay. Now I can say I played General Hawk, the great American hero, and not feel like somewhat guilty about that.
Hey, I mean, it wasn't your choice that they recorded that in Canada.
No, it wasn't. It's like, oh, cartoon, sure. Well, what do I do? Where do I sign up? I mean, no one ever thought of that.
Of all the shows to record, not in the USA.
Yeah. No. Wow.
Well, Deke do what Deke do.
Yeah, done in Canada.
But hey, we're glad that they did it because that was like your first gig, right?
Yeah, it was one of the first. Exo Squad, I think, was the first. A couple other things, but Exo Squad was in.
Exo Squad.
G.I. Joe, Exo Squad. Yeah, that was fun too. That was a great one. But I think Joe was first. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you did mention it a little bit, so let's talk a little bit about that small franchise, Transformers, where some people get to voice more than one Ninja Turtle. That's not the biggest deal, but I mean, I love Rob Paulsen. But you, sir, got to be both Megatron and later Optimus Prime.
Yeah, who would have thought? My little toy. I love that little toy. Yeah, who would have thought? Who would have thought that? That was the weirdest thing. I mean, I didn't know I don't know what I was getting into when I went in. I got a whole bunch of, paper and drawings and characters and dialogue, and I went in for the first audition, and I was called back, and I realized that I really want to do this forever because it was so much fun. And yeah, man, I did my thing in the booth, and thank goodness an idea came to me when I needed it, the very last second when I went in for the callback. I'm just thinking Anthony Hopkins, Sean Connery, a lizard. I don't know. I have no idea. Yeah, excellent. I did this whole thing. Yeah. And I see the meerkat heads in the studio. They're bobbing their heads, yes, and stuff. And then they had me read for Optimus Primal as well in that. And I didn't even remember what I did for that. I can't remember. But Gary was the obvious choice and the great choice. And two of us remain, friends. We call each other, how you doing? Hey, good. How you doing? Blow my finger. We still have a good time, talks together. And the Optimus Prime thing came up because Sue Blue, that's when I was commuting a lot down to Los Angeles from Vancouver. And I know they were doing another Transformers series, and I got to be involved. So I emailed Sue and said, hey, listen, I commute now, and I'm working down. And she said, oh, honey, of course. Yeah, we got to get you in. So I went in and I read for Megatron because I figured, here we go again. And I got called back and I figured, here we go. Megatron is back, blah, blah, blah. And then when I'm in the booth, I read for a couple of things and the Megatron role, and there was silence, and they're all talking. I see their heads talking, and Derek Wyatt was in there, and Matt Youngberg and Marty Eisenberg, and they're all in there. And the producers in there. And they said, hey, Sue says, can you take a look at Optimus Prime? You come on out and read the lines. We'll bring you back in, but we want you to read. So I said, all right. So I went out, I waited around, I looked at the sides, and I had no idea what I was going to do with this. I came in and they said they were kind of looking for like a younger, like a Tom Hanks type character, like a young. I said, I don't know. I just started, I kind of started talking like, transform and roll. It was higher in my register, and I wasn't real comfortable with that, but they seemed to kind of like that. And I did my thing, and I went away, and great to see you, hugs, and blah. And I remember driving through Chinatown in LA, and I got the phone call from my agent. It was maybe about a couple of weeks later. I wasn't even thinking about the audition at all, and all I could think about was the movie Chinatown with Jack Nicholson. It's Chinatown, Jack, forget about it. So I was thinking about going through Chinatown, LA. And my agent says, hey, DK. So I got some good news. And I'm thinking, all right, so this is the show. So they're going to cast you as Optimus. And she's talking. And I said, hey, wait a second. So I literally said, I'm turning a corner on a temple. I remember exactly when temples toward the Disney concert hall. And I said, so you mean, was it, is it Megatron or like what? She's no. They want you as, they're going to cast you as Optimus Prime. Congratulations. And I had to take a second. Well, what am I going to do with that? So I said, oh, great. I don't know if I was excited or like really worried as shit because I didn't know. And yeah, that's how I got the news. And walking in and seeing these famous VO people that I love, like Tom Kenny and Bill Fagerbakke, and oh my God, Tara was in there, and oh, I'm blanking here. Bumper Robinson. Geez.
Isn't Corey Burton
Corey
Megatron?
Corey Burton was Megatron. Corey was a trip. Such a nice guy. Him and I would do old radio voices every time we'd see each other. Hello, Corey. I'm Corey. I'm Corey Burton. I'm David Kaye. We do this whole thing, and it was just such an all-star cast. And I kept thinking, what the hell am I doing here? And
You're an all-star, baby.
Well, wait a second. So I got to carry this. I got to carry these misfits. What am? And so we started to record, and my voices again was sort of high, like, come on, guys, who's with me? And then eventually, after about 4 or 5 episodes, I kind of fell into, transform and roll out, sort of like it's me, but it's, and I became comfortable with the character and voice, and all the guest stars started coming in, Weird Al Yankovic and all these people. It was just the greatest experience. So that's how it all sort of happened. It all blindsided me,
Well, I'd have to say that you are both an excellent Megatron and an excellent Optimus Prime.
Oh gosh, thanks. I honestly, when I'm in there thinking, I'm thinking, okay, I gotta be, I don't know what I'm thinking sometimes. I honestly do. I have that imposter syndrome. Like, so I realize that I'm in a very enviable position, and I want to do a good job. I want to. And even though, I'm in my early, 50s now, I guess every time I go into a session or whatever, I still have that, but I'm just a kid. And what am I doing here? These are all really good. These people are great. Who possessed you to hire me? Well, I'm sure glad they did, though. Wow. Because I don't know what else I'd do if I wasn't doing this.
Well, it seems like you've become more comfortable with your upper register in since then.
Yeah, it's my older Rob Paulson. And here we go. Okay, David Kaye.
Yeah, it's just,
that's not bad.
I have Rob Paulson's cup. It's right up here. Rob is a dear friend, and I love Rob. I read, some of the stuff he posts on Twitter. I said, I can never be that good of a person. How does a person? He is like a genuine. He's an angel on earth. Like, how I can't live up to that. But he's wonderful, and he's so supportive of everybody, and he's a mensch. I'm not Jewish, 14%, but I would see he's the menschest of all mensches. If I was 100% Jewish, he would be the biggest mensch of all. He's still the biggest mensch. Yeah.
So none of these really aired on Toonami, but I was curious if you had, say, a decent amount of freedom to ad-lib on shows like Regular Show and Ben 10 Omniverse and games like Ratchet and Clank.
Yeah, sometimes. No, I mean, not too off, but somebody will say, like, it'll be more like a throwaway line, and then you'll see everybody laugh. Oh, we're keeping that. Oh, we're going to keep that. So yes, once in a while we do. They keep some of the stuff. The Clank lines it's you walk in that game. The new game's coming out this coming year, and I can't wait for y'all to see it. But it's a fine line between the robot has a personality, but it's still a robot. But he has a personality, but it's still a robot. So you have to be careful to walk that line. You can't really go off. The biggest ad lib there is the laugh we came up with a long time ago, the Scooby thing, and that became a thing. With Megatron, it was yes. I think it was maybe written, and I stretched it out, and then I would add a no. But avail you not, no. Yes, side guns. Or it should avail you not, no. And they said, oh, we're going to keep that. That sounds good because it's like Shakespeare, right? The debate. With the aliens in Ben 10, fun to do that stuff. There wasn't a lot of room to play around, but there again, somebody would say a line and say something. Can I try it this way? And they might keep it in. Oh.
Yeah, you got to do all kinds of voices for that one.
Gosh, yes. Don't ask me because I can't remember them.
That's okay. I can't remember them either.
Yeah.
I was just looking at behind the voice actors. I was like, oh wow, look at all that.
Yeah, I know. I'm afraid to look at it because I'm like, I don't want to see anything I don't like, so I don't look.
Well, you know, one of these days you go to a convention. Can you do this Squatch video?
That's why I'm afraid. I'm
Shock
afraid.
Squatch.
Shock Squatch is like, well, that's my Uncle Terry, eh? That's my Uncle Terry. I did that, and they went, yeah, that's funny. Use that. That's my ode to my Uncle Terry back there in Ontario, Canada. Oh, geez, eh? Holy crap. They all talk like that, too. Yeah. But yeah, the room here, my studio is full of toys. I got some toys up top here, you know, some of the old Beast Force stuff.
That.
Sesshōmaru's way up there. You know, Ben Tennyson, the Kyber the Huntsman. He's my favorite because he didn't have to do anything. Kind of South African. He could be very calm. Ben Tennyson, I'm going to get you. It's the last thing I do. It was sort of like kind of an Aussie hybrid thing. Yeah, it's just it's so much fun. And there's a couple big announcements coming out. One soon. You know, we all have those NDAs, but there's been some amazing projects I've been involved with recently that I can't wait for everybody to see and to hear. Not just from me, but the entire cast and the project. So,
well, is there anything you can talk about?
Well, you know, the Ratchet and Clank game, Psychonauts 2 has been announced.
Ford Kriller. Yeah, it's Ford Kriller. I think that's up in there. There he is, right there. Ford.
So that's Psychonauts 2. Looks amazing. The Ratchet and Clank game. What else is we can talk about? Oh gosh. This is where I need. This is where I need help. This is where I need to look at the IMDb and the behind the voice actors. Here's the issue with me. I get some stuff and it's really cool, and then I do it, and then I forgot about it, and then the next day comes, and whatever I did the day before is weird. I did show up. You'll hear me on the new series Call Me Cat with Mayim Bialik. You'll hear my voice on one of the upcoming episodes. So stuff like that. I'm sort of all over the map with the trailers and commercials and you know, animation projects and video game projects. But yeah, you know, watch this space for more. But some really big announcements coming. We're also developing a show. We're using some really talented, crazy animated puppetry, which is, I know it sounds strange, but I know I can tell you Billy West is in the cast, and Tara Strong, Cree Summer, Vanessa Marshall, Trevor Duvall. Who else is in it, man? We have an all-star cast, and that'll be announced soon. We're developing this with the animators are in Tasmania. And we've been doing work with them over the course of the pandemic to getting the scenes together. But it's like it's wild, it's strange and different. So we'll see how that goes. Yeah. And Scooby-Doo, the movie. I mean, the latest Scooby-Doo movie, or the latest Scooby-Doo episodes of Scooby-Doo's out there now. I get to say the famous line. Yeah. For a few meddling kids, you know, something like that.
Well, it's good they're bringing that back. Sometimes they subvert it.
Yes, that's true. Yeah.
It's like in these new Looney Tunes cartoons, they're not saying the iconic lines. They're saying something like, it's like, well, you know what this means.
That's right.
Like,
my good
just
friend,
say the line, man. Right. Let Eric Bauza say the line.
Poor Eric Bauza. He's a very close friend of mine, and he's how cool is that, man? How cool is that?
That's wild. That's
I remember the audition for Bugs Bunny came out. I remember the day. I saw Trevor Duvall. We were all working out in the same gym, and Bowles there, and I show up, and I said, "Hey man, I got the you know, Looney Tunes stuff." And he said, "Yeah, DK, you gonna give it a try?" No. Why not? Because it's you. I'm not even gonna even open it. I'm not gonna even try. I can do "What's up, Doc," but that's it. That's all I can do. You can do everything. Oh, DK, you should have said, "Bowser, dude, this is you. This is you." And sure enough, look what happened. I was right.
I'm really impressed that he can do the Mel Blanc yell. I don't think any other actor has done that as well.
No, he's freaking amazing. You know, that man is talented, and yeah, it's pretty awesome.
For sure. So you have done prelay, ADR, and on-camera acting. So what are some of your favorite things about each of those different kinds of acting?
Well, it hated me on anything I did on camera. because I just couldn't look at my boring, But I especially hated me in X-Files, and I didn't mind me in Happy Gilmore. But I didn't mind myself in Battlestar Galactica. I did want to dress up, and I wanted to be one of the Cylons or something. I wanted a bunch of makeup, but I was a reporter. It was a lot of fun being on that set. I love the here's me on camera. I had a chance to do some really wonderful roles. I think the last thing I did with any consequence was Martian Child, a sweet little movie. Underrated. John and Joan Cusack were in it. And they were phenomenal to work with. My God. I remember telling the director and the producer, I said, if this is the last thing I do on camera, I'm good. Oh, no, come on. He goes, nah, this was amazing. I got the chance to work with them and hang out with them all day and see how they worked and that. And it is a sweet little film. I played Joan's husband in it. It's called Martian Child, if you have an hour and a half to waste. I like the people. I liked a lot of the people behind the scenes. I would hang out with the DOPs, director of photography, camera guys, sound audio guys. I got to know some of them. There's a crew up there in Vancouver I got to kind of know over the years. And I really enjoyed watching what they did, so much so that my agent would call me and say, hey, listen, they just want to make sure you're in your trailer because they can't find you. I said, well, I'm on set. Oh. Well, hey, I negotiated. I got you like a half a double banger, whatever they call them, a half a trailer or a guest trailer. I would get bored in there, and I'd go out and just hang out on set just to see how everything's running. I enjoyed that a lot, to the point where, I'd forget about memorizing my lines and be more interested in what was going on here. So that's not a good thing. The ADR stuff was fun to do. Because Carl Wilms and because the folks at Ocean, it was just fun to go in and hang out with them and do my thing. My biggest love is animation, is prelay, where the animation isn't drawn yet and you're all in the same room and it's like a radio play. And the fun, that's what I really missed this past year. And we've done our cartoons and stuff using, Zoom and all this. We're all at our own studios and all at home, and it's fine. You can see people on screen, but it's not the same as being in there and, riffing off each other and seeing your buddies and your pals. And I really love, prelay for that reason. It's just a camaraderie and being together. It's different. The energy's different. I love that.
And you also do, voiceover for announcers and such. So you did mention that you do love that.
Yeah, I do. It's the last week tonight with the John Oliver show that came out of nowhere as well, and I remember getting called for that. It said, "Do you want to work weekends?" I go, "Wow, not really. Like, what do you mean? Like, what's the show?" Well, it's like I don't know. Let's see how it goes. And and 12 Emmys later, so you never know. And that's just me being, and now, that's, how is this still a thing? But yeah, this just various. I'm all over the map with things. Kind of a Swiss Army knife, if you will. Like I have networked. I'm doing the Prodigal Son promos for Fox for that show last few seasons, and I have that. Every day is full of that sort of things. Different commercials. This morning was a commercial for out of New York, and there was other. So I'm sort of all over the place. I can go from trailer scratches to reads to to commercials into promo. For affiliates, radio and television stations, network and whatever. Like it's, and then there's a show like a First Monday Back. We're doing a table read for this new show that I'm in, and so I'm all over the place, and I love that because I never know what the next day is going to bring, and I kind of grown to really enjoy the mystery of Monday. Like what's going to happen.
According to your bio on your website, you've petitioned for a 28-hour day.
Oh, that old thing. That's an old quote. That's probably a very old bio. Yikes. I don't know what it says.
Did kind of.
Yeah, that's probably an old one. No, I don't want a 28-hour day. That was me like maybe 15 years ago. That's old. Now I want a 2-hour day.
I want a 2-hour day. That's all I got. That's all I need. That's all I got. 2 hours, and then I'm retired.
No, I prefer. I enjoy keeping busy in the studio. I love being in here. So sometimes during the pandemic, this morning I was up early for East Coast, and then I'll be in here throughout the day, all day today. I have to schedule my workouts in, but they know not to bother me. If everybody's on the Google Calendar, all my agents and managers, they know what I'm doing. So I'm in the garage working out at this time. They don't book anything around, but I have stuff coming up this afternoon, that I have to be in here for. And I enjoy that. I love coming in here. It's a fun place to be creative, and I can scream and yell and make funny voices and no one cares.
Mm.
Yeah.
Are there certain things that you do to take care of your instrument?
Yeah. There's Fred Tatasciore got into this bayberry root bark. I mean, your listeners can't see it, but it's a drop it in water. That helps for some reason. I kind of lost residency there a few months ago. I was before the pandemic, and I had no bottom end, and I was like really concerned. I had to go to my ear, nose, and throat doctor who's on speed dial, and once in a while acid reflux. Apparently when you sleep at night, even though you don't know it, a little bit of acid comes up, and it can singe, and it kind of you kind of talk. It's like you lose your bottom end. You're kind of in this area here. I use that read a lot, by the way. For NFL football, I use that, and the acid reflux read, I call it. And so, yeah, I have a big thing.
A bit like John Madden.
Yeah, that's right. So I got to clear my throat. But I use a big thing of Grethers in here. I have like ginger, soft ginger candies. There's a guy around the corner. Literally, he's close by in the neighborhood. He's called Dr. Voice, and I get like bee pollen spray, and I got all these contraptions for vocalists and singers. A lot of voiceover people and singers go to him and get their stuff. And it's in a mailbox store. Jonathan Kramer, his name is, and he's a great guy. And he'll, he takes care of, he helps take care of this thing. I just have to be careful if I'm getting too busy and talk too much. I have to literally go outside. Thank goodness in California, I can walk around in my pajamas, and it's warm enough that I can just lay there for like a half an hour and rest the vocal cords, because sometimes they get too stressed and they need to be relaxed. That's a big thing. Is my stress level and anxiety during this pandemic has been such that I know when I'm feeling it, because my voice is the first thing to get affected. So I have to maintain. I take a lot of steams. It's really important. We had to put a steam shower in because that was a mandatory thing. It just keeps things lubricated back there, and it's really important because day in, day out, you're using that instrument.
I gotta clear my throat after that one.
Yeah, after that. I'm bayberry root bark.
Get yours today.
Yes.
This is a Toonami faithful podcast, so we would be remiss if we didn't talk a little about your character on Gundam Wing, Treize Khusrenada.
Treize Khusrenada, yes.
Yes, fan favorite.
I love Treize because he was always just telling it like it is.
I love the big long speeches too. It was just an awesome. I love that's one of the series that I watched a lot. Out of all the series I did, that was probably the one that I would really, I dig robots. Who'd have thunk? I just between Brian Drummond and myself and the other members of the cast, it was a great cast. I love the stories. I love the big mechs, the big suits. I don't know. He was just such a easygoing character. I mean, I had a crush on Lady Un. I think personally, David Kaye.
I mean, who didn't?
See, wow, she is cute. Yes.
Wait a minute, it's a cartoon. Stop. But
David, what would you want to think?
But I enjoyed it. It was I loved that show, and are they still? Are they still playing? They're still playing.
They haven't played Gundam Wing in a good long time, But
Can we get them to throw some of that on? Because
your interest is noted.
Do you have any pull?
No, we have absolutely no pull.
Huh.
But the guy who runs Toonami does really like Gundam Wing, and there is that HD remaster, so it's a possibility someday.
Yeah, I'd love to see that again. I disagree. I think they should. I think that wouldn't you say so? Especially now, I mean, we're all in lot.
I'm sure there's a lot of people that would appreciate having it on again in some capacity.
Hearing this podcast, get on Twitter and you know what to do.
Bring back Gundam Wing.
Yes, it's as simple as that. Let's take a look at it again.
Yeah, that would have been good. I mean, it's been about 20 years since the original airing.
Yeah, I love when people come dressed as Treize in cosplay at conventions, and some of them just go all out, and they look fantastic. I mean, it's really, really cool. I enjoy that.
Now, getting back to Transformers, there are various new Transformers projects coming along. So are you hoping that some? Well, I mean, you could certainly audition for other Transformers parts, but are you hoping for that version of Megatron to come back in some capacity?
Well, sure, of course I am. But that's not up to me. Again, on Twitter, you know what to do.
Bring back the Beast Wars.
Yeah, that's right.
Oh, there's definitely nostalgia for that one.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, this is another one that we understand if you're not comfortable talking about it, but there was a recent passing of someone that you've worked with for many years.
No, we can talk about that. Yeah, Kirby Morrow. Speaking of Sesshōmaru or Inuyasha and Yashahime, he was part of the Canadian cast that was that had recorded, done some stuff for the show as well. That was a shock. I mean, this year's thrown us some real. Oh well, I won't say it. But that was sort of one of those where because he came down to LA last year. It was last year, yeah. He was his girlfriend, or maybe a year and a half ago. We hung out, and he's one of those guys where if he texted you or called you, it's Kirby. Hey man, hey, it's yeah. I'm coming to LA, and so we went. I took him down up the Intercontinental Tower, Hotel Tower. It's the tallest, building west of Mississippi, and we had sushi up there. We hung out, and I put him up at our club, and he stayed the night there, and him and his girlfriend, and I made sure he was, he's just a great guy. I just wanted to help him out, and he was doing a convention. I didn't want you're not staying over there. Here, I'll put you up here. It was just great to hang out with Curb for a while, because we're great memories of hanging out in South Beach, doing a convention many years ago, and he was a riot, man. He's just a great guy. Again, this, so that he was so nice. I was one of those people that I could never be that nice. How does he do? That's amazing. I mean, he's just a nice guy who is so supportive of any actor, of anybody who would come around, and he would coach them and help them out. And he was more excited when they got a part than when he got a part. And this is the type of guy he was. That was just a total, like, what? I saw that was like, I don't normally, I'm not good at social media. Mentally, I'm like, because of all the negativity, I tend to, really, quickly skim, or quickly, if I start doom scrolling, that's not good for my brain. It's not good for me, not good for anybody. But I happened to be doom scrolling that one day, and sure enough, the tweet, word is it's something Kurt. I go, what? Kurt? And I get on the phone, and a couple other buddies, and it was just, that hurt. We had a memorial for him. We had a Zoom with all the people that knew him, and I saw a lot of my old friends from the Vancouver days, and it was great to see everybody. Lousy circumstances, but it was nice to sort of have a little memorial, you know, and we couldn't visit up there, obviously. That was tough. That was really tough. And the fans, you know, heartbroken over that. He's just a great guy, and he was our hero. Everybody wanted to be Kirby. You know, he was always like the lead in a lot of the shows I used to do up in Vancouver. He was the main, he was the hero. And, you know, that was 2020 has been tough. And that was just another body blow, man. For sure. There's a fund as well. There's a Kirby Morrow fund to raising money for kids. I think it's in his home province of Alberta, Calgary. You can go on Twitter. It's the Kirby Morrow fan page or something that they've set up. So if you feel so inclined, by all means.
All right. Well, we don't want to take too much more of your time, so
yeah, I got to get in the gym. I got to get in the gym. And I'm really looking forward to it today. Yeah, I'm not feeling it. We'll see how it goes. But it's been keeping me sane. I'll tell you that one. You know, I'm a bit of a nut that way. I know it's going to hurt. I know it's just going to be but it's been keeping my brain sane. It's just keeping active in that little so-called gym in there. But yeah. So
yeah, do what you got to do.
Yeah, true that. All right, guys. Cheers.
See you later.
Bye.